Why are Black Americans sitting out? Why are Black Americans not saying anything? What is wrong with Black Americans community? Are they not seeing what is happening? Are they not doing this? Are they not doing that? Why are they silent? Oh, Black Americans, don't worry. The fact that you are silent, ICE is also going to come for you. Remember, the ICE is already dealing with Black people. In fact, deportation is going to hit you soon. In fact, you are also going to be deported to another unknown land. Where will you go to? Where is your culture? Blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Shut up. Yes. A lot of people have tried every single thing, every possible way, just because they want to see Black Americans at the war front. They want to see Black Americans standing and saying, we mount. But Black Americans are saying, no, no, no. And in this video, we are not only going to dive deep. Grab your popcorn and coke because it's about to be a long one, or press your ×2 speed. Because Black Americans are here to send message, warning, and also address the public so that every single person can stay out of their business. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And with that being said, let's dive right into this video. For disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes, but I stand and I mount for Black Americans. With that being said, let's go watch. I'll be back, guys.
The number one reason that I and other Black people are not going to any of these marches or these protests is because they're straight up outdated and ineffective. As far as I can tell, these marches are not a strategy, they are a performance. Marches make certain people feel like they're doing something, but y'all, this current administration, this current regime, they are so unbothered, they could care less. And that's the whole purpose, to affect change, to make things happen. And if y'all think that any gathering of any people carrying signs is going to change the current administration's thinking, their policy, y'all are crazy. We could recreate the March on Washington word for word, step for step, and it would still yield absolutely nothing. And this current administration would not so much as flinch. We've all watched Eyes on the Prize, and yeah, we really believed for a long time, especially through the 50s, 60s, 70s, that if Black people walked long enough in the same direction, in the right direction, justice would meet us down at the end of the corner. And we see now that there's no way that that's the case. Marching hasn't moved policy in decades. To me, it just seems like it's all a performance, like it's a photo op, it's a PR stunt. The people in charge are not afraid of your footsteps or your signs. Black women, we've already found out what they're really afraid of. They're afraid of our withdrawal. They're afraid of us removing our dollars from this system. They're afraid of us organizing and strategizing effectively. We keep showing up at these marches hoping to be heard. They stopped listening a long time ago. I cannot speak for everybody, but on behalf of Black women in the 92%, we are resting. We are building. We are plotting, because by now we should have all figured out that power does not respond to noise. It responds to pressure.
Just in case you're keeping count, peacefully protesting hasn't really gotten us anything that we've wanted so far. I sat down for a couple minutes and made a list of things that we've peacefully protested for or against, including stopping Cop City, but also legalization of marijuana. We only have like partial versions of 2 of these maybe. Keep in mind, that's not an exhaustive list. That is just what I thought about in 5 minutes. I often hear a lot of people say, oh, when y'all are ready to burn this shit down, let me know. I don't think you're going to be able to flip the switch like that. And I'm not saying this to discourage or deter you. I'm saying that you need to start exercising your dissidence. In the same way that on your first day at the gym, you're probably not going to load up 315 on the squat rack. You're going to start off small and work your way up to 315. So here's just a few things that you can do to start sowing a little bit of chaos and community into your social fabric. Become a CPA and start helping people file their taxes without TurboTax and H&R Block. Wear a mask. Always carry cash. Talk to your neighbors. Attend city council meetings. Donate to Wikipedia. Walk or bike somewhere instead of driving. If you see a bus stop that doesn't have a bench, build it a bench. Unsubscribe or password share for as many subscription services as you can. Stop buying from Amazon and start buying directly from the supplier. Don't buy a bunch of single-use water bottles and instead get a reusable one. Side note, if you go to a bar, a lot of times you can ask them to refill your water bottle and they'll do it. Eat at a local place instead of a chain. Throw a cookout or a party. Learn about Meshtastic, ATAC, or maybe even get a ham radio license. Make informational and graphical flyers, stickers, websites, pamphlets, whatever. Volunteer. School, museum, food bank, fire department, wherever. Cut down on AI chatbot usage. Maybe visit a pirating website. Create revolutionary art or music. Get fruit or vegetable seeds and spread them around the city. Regularly give your local boys and blue some lemon poppy seed muffins. Lots of people won't know that one. One of the most simple things that you can do as an able-bodied person is simply just work out. These things, along with educating yourself, is going to get your foot in the door when it comes to revolutionary practices. It's not unlawful. It's not life or death. You don't have to protect anybody. You don't have to sacrifice yourself. All you have to do is get out into the community and prove to yourself that you can actively make a change in it. And I know it's important to set an example, so I will be showing that I'll do the same thing.
Why didn't Black people show up to protest? So this was a question I received in my inbox, and I want to address it. And I'll give a little bit of a history lesson, but also I want to be careful in the way that I articulate it, because I don't want to be offensive, but I also need to be very blunt. Black people don't matter. Not to law enforcement, not to this administration. The police force was created. Its initial inception was done to chase down Black people, enslaved Black people who escaped. They wrote laws and legislation. They said Black people had a mental illness that made them want to escape slavery. They classified it as a mental illness, something wrong with our brains. And even as recent as the Civil Rights March, we saw tons of action, peaceful, non-violent action that was still met with scores of police officers and dogs, and we were hosed down in the streets. We were beat with batons. Our bodies did not matter then, and they don't matter now. Not to this administration. They would love nothing more than for Black people to get out in the street, protest, so that they can declare martial law. It's not safe for us to protest. Can you imagine thousands of Black people on the streets? Can you imagine us saying, hands off, that we matter? Can you imagine what that would actually look like? What that would look like, what the video footage would show. I can guarantee you it will not show police officers blockading the street so that we can protest peacefully. It will not show police officers walking hand in hand with protesters. The headlines will read something like, rioters overtake the city. Looters are not welcome in our area. Even if there are no riots, no one is looting. The storyline is different when there are Black bodies involved, because Black lives don't matter. Not in the way that they should. It's not safe for us to be in the streets. It's not safe for us. It's not safe for our country. And honestly, 92% of Black women, 80% of Black men said absolutely not. And I don't know what it was. I don't know what clicked. We didn't have a meeting. There was no Zoom call. But on Wednesday, November the 6th, we all woke up and we decided to sit down. Because, see, Black people have been fighting. We have been fighting for hundreds of years. One of the kids' books, I'll do a review on it. One of the kids' books that me and my children have gone over, it is called Born on the Water. And it talks about chattel slavery and how the greatest form of resistance was to keep existing. That's what Black people are doing. We are continuing to exist. And for us, at this point, that means sitting back so that we can continue to exist.
If you would like to know why Black people are not going out to protest, let me explain it to you. Oppressed people, or people who think they are oppressed, tend to at one point or another rise up and protest or fight to take their rights back or gain their rights. Now understand, I said people who are or think they are being oppressed, as is the case with the rioters of January 6th, compared to the peaceful protests of the Civil Rights Movement. One group felt they were losing something they already had, and another group was fighting for something they absolutely deserved but were never given. The January 6 rioters were poor or lower middle class whites, a majority of them were, who used force, violence, and intimidation to storm a federal building, did it with smiles on their faces and hate in their hearts, because they absolutely knew without a doubt that they had the complexion for the protection. They knew because of how they looked, they could administer, but not be met with violence. They wanted their quote-unquote dear leader to be president because they knew the hate and disdain they have for any American not white, straight, and angry Trump and his administration had that same disdain for. They need a mediocre white man to lead this country because racism and hate breeds, feeds, and accepts mediocrity, as long as it's white. Note, not saying all white people are mediocre and don't work hard, but what I am saying is, if you are rich enough, powerful enough, have the right connections, you can be mediocre and not work hard and be highly successful, if you are white. Now take the peaceful protests of the civil rights movement. Unfortunately, they did not have the complexion for the protection. They literally sang, marched, and prayed. They were met with hoses, dogs, lynchings, hate, and violence, because they knew that because of how they looked, they would immediately be met with violence. But still, they sacrificed their bodies for not only theirs, but for the rights of future generations. A violent riot met with peace, a peaceful protest met with violence. The only difference is skin color. Now, when people tell us today, look at our country, we must do something, it's funny because we did something to gain our rights. The January 6 rioters did something because they felt slighted. And again, before anyone gets in my comments thinking I'm comparing the two, I am not. The only group in this country who has never had to fight for their rights, protest against any wrongdoing for their people, have never had rights taken away, and have never had to worry about the right to live freely, have always been well-to-do or upper-middle-class white people. They have never had to sacrifice their bodies like the lower middle class or poor white hippies did during the Vietnam War protests, or the few white people who chose to give their lives for civil rights. The same white people who have come from generational wealth, had nice, beautiful Christmases, and have told black folk that they had their backs, but from the comfort of a BLM hashtag in their homes, are now the only ones left to go out and fight for something. But they have seen the carnage that comes from that. They see that this administration doesn't like them either. They've seen it with Renee Good and Mr. Alex Preddy. And this administration is simply not enough to be white. You must be rich, white, bow down, and kiss the ring. They know if they go out there, their whiteness will not save them. They've seen it in real time, and they just aren't built like that. The courage isn't there. So they say, black people, this is your country too. But they say that because we have always been the racial Marines. First one on the front lines, first ones to die, but the last ones to get any rights. Not anymore. Poor whites rioted for what they believed in, this garbage-ass dictator. Black folk peacefully protested for their civil rights. Mexican Americans with the Zoot Suit riots to spark the Chicano movement, and our LGBTQ brothers and sisters with the Stonewall riots. Every oppressed American has fought and sacrificed for their respect and dignity, except the January 6 protesters. They rioted for hate. Noted. Now, upper middle class, borderline rich, generational wealth holding whites, it's your turn. They are coming for you now. Your complexion cannot save you. And it's time for you to stand for something. Because black and brown people have done their parts. We have things to lose now as well. And we ain't going. So stop calling on us. Respectfully.
Today's Democrat Party has got to be some of the most bloodthirsty, race-baiting, manipulating individuals on the face of the earth. I mean, demonic. Black folks, do you know why they want you guys to join into this fight about illegal immigrants? Even though it's against your better interests, but we all know that you fight for Democrats against your better interests on a daily anyway. But think about this, because this is truly not our fight, right? I mean, no matter how much, fear-mongering and gaslighting liberals do, this is not your fight. I'm going to tell you, they want you to join this fight because they're hoping that one of you are killed while you're protesting. They're hoping that one of you are hurt during this obstruction of federal law. Because they know that if that happens, you will have another George Floyd. You would have another Michael Brown. You would have another Tamir Rice. You will have a kind of situation to where they will use your hurt, your trauma, your pain to burn this country to the ground. This is why those black gatekeepers in the Democrat Party keep trying to push the masses of blacks to join in this fight. Even though it is obvious that illegal immigrants are flooding in your communities, they're taking your resources, they're raping and killing your children. So why would this be your fight? You look at Minneapolis, the Somalian community constantly tells you that they're not black. But now, because they need your help, they need your blood, they need your fight, now they're black. While they robbed this country blind for years and you couldn't even get childcare. They're running businesses in your community and you can't get a piece of the pie. This is not your fight. They want you to get hurt. That's why I have a problem with the Democrat Party.
So there's been this online discourse about why black people aren't out there protesting more, ain't out there on the front lines more, and saying that this isn't our fight. Some of my mutuals are into it, and they beefing with each other. But I'm going to try to explain to those people who don't know and don't understand why black people ain't out there. I'm going to explain to y'all, and I'm going to try to do it quickly because I want to do a longer form, but that'll be on a different platform. So here we go. I was born in 86, right? Throughout the 90s and the 2000s, one of the things that kept being said about black people is, they need to build up their community. Why don't they build up their own neighborhoods? Why don't they own their own businesses? Why ain't they doing all this stuff? They commit the most crimes. They're the main ones on welfare and all this other stuff. And they're the main ones with affirmative action and DEI and all this other stuff. And we believed all the stuff and negative stuff that they were saying about us, our community, and our culture, right? Right. Now, fast forward to where we are now, where a lot of us are doing our research on this stuff and realize a lot of the stuff that they were saying about us was just straight up lies. We don't commit the most crimes in this country. We're not the main ones who benefit from welfare programs. We're not the main ones who benefit from DEI and affirmative action. And regardless of anything that has ever been said against us, we still find time to laugh, smile, build up, take care of our families, and do all of that stuff. And we're learning that all that stuff that they said about us was lies. We also learned that a lot of the stuff that our ancestors fought for, the people who do benefit the most from that stuff, are the ones who will talk trash about our community and about our culture and don't even understand it. And now we're feeling offended because you guys are benefiting from the stuff that our ancestors fought for, but yet are the same ones talking some of the most trash about us. And y'all want to wonder why we're not fighting? We fought for y'all back in November 2024. We fought for y'all. Y'all didn't fight for y'all because it was a hectic time during that election. And that election showed black people one thing, that we are more on accord than y'all have been leading us to believe. Even black women, y'all have black women thinking that white women were going to stand by their side more than black men until them election results came in and we realized we actually are more together than apart. And, of course, we can blame it on a couple of loudmouths with a podcast, Mike, but it is what it is. So we're looking at it like, nah, y'all got yourselves into this mess. What we're going to do is build our community like y'all been saying we need to do, and y'all can go deal with this. In fact, don't ask where the black people are at. Why don't you go ask all them random TikTokers who suddenly got political and told y'all not to doggone vote or try to vote for a third party, that as soon as the election results came in, all of a sudden, they don't talk about politics no more. Ask them to go help you. Don't ask us. That's the reason why. So just in case you need to know, that's the reason why.
There's not a black family in America that hasn't committed some type of criminal act. Even if you went to work and got the company ink, pen, pencils, or papers out of the supplies closet at your job, and regardless of the fact you took some of it home to finish up a report by handwriting out notes, and then you kept some of the stuff at the house. That's really a misdemeanor penalty of basically stealing. And a lot of that for Black Americans to commit some type of criminal act is because the rules of the land was bested for white folks. It's not the American justice system, it's the American injustice system. And when you start going outside with trying to do this ICE protest bullshit, it's going to be twisted. And it's going to be blamed that this is why we're out here in the first place, because the people of color, especially Black Americans, don't know anything. They don't know no better. They're not intelligent enough, and they're catching on the ICE agents. And as far as the ICE agents, you see what they're doing. No woman deserves to be shot in the face 3 times. And the man was protecting the woman so she wouldn't get pepper sprayed. He had his weapon on him concealed, but he had all the paperwork for the state of Wisconsin and the state of Minnesota. The ICE agent, you could hear it in the video. After 6-on-1, they got the man on the ground. You could tell them some bitch-ass white dudes, you 6-on-1, and you got the person on the fucking ground. You see that he got a concealed gun locked in his holster. You're going to take it and then shoot him with it. And not shoot him once, but shoot him 10 times. I'm thinking, damn. Then these fucking motherfuckers get on fucking TV, especially his bitch ass. And now I'm going to sound racist now. That tandoori chicken eating bastard that's the director of the FBI, this motherfucker gets on, why do you bring a gun to a protest? Fucking Kyle Rittenhouse's bitch ass had his mama drive him across state lines. He brought an AR-15 to the joint. He shot 2 white dudes, and the one white dude, he shot his arm off. So this Bama's got the nerve to say something. Black Americans, you better stop being scared about having a fucking gun. You better get the Second Amendment. Guys like me, like my dad, like my great uncles, like my older cousins, and my great-great-grandfather, all of us have been in the military. We did what we did to earn the right for you to have the Second Amendment. As long as you ain't commit some crime, go out there, find out what you need from the state. And truth be told, I haven't even researched it to find out if there's any, black gun owners or sellers other than going to some meet. Go to the range, rent a gun, go through the class, go get the tested, get the concealed permit, get the extra permits that where if you can go from state to state. So if you have to travel and you driving on the road, you keep it. And you have all your paperwork right there. You have all your paperwork laminated in a gallon Ziploc bag, and you have it out on the dashboard. So if you're traveling from state to state, don't get out your car. Your car is a fucking Switzerland of fucking World War II. That's your fucking safe zone. When a motherfucker tell you, hey, you got to get out the car, you ain't got to get out the car. It's a traffic stop. You have a reasonable time frame for slack-jawed Neanderthal motherfucker to write you a ticket, and you can keep it moving. All that, well, I need your ID, because all they want to do is they want to take your ID to see if you have any warrants. Then if you have any warrants or whatever, then they could run your shit up. That's all they trying to do. Because the police officers, they ain't trying to keep nobody safe. And they just, a couple of years ago, took everybody across the nation, took Protect and Serve off all their vehicles. So the police have always been revenue agents. The overseer, revenue agent. If a slave escaped, he could bring the slave back. Slave master could keep his slaves and keep on making money. Slave catcher, same thing. Revenue agent. And that's all police are. They not here to protect nobody. Because most of these white dudes out here that's got a gun and a badge and a taser and a slipstick, they ain't shit. Let them get caught in a jam. They'll freeze up and need a diaper. But you got to do what you got to do to protect yourself by knowing the rules, knowing the laws, knowing the regulations. So while you in the house, you on your cell phone in front of your computer, you got a laptop, you got a tablet. Hey, I'm like you. I don't even watch regular TV. We haven't had a cable box in our house in the last, I'd say about 5-6 years. And it wasn't even about the money. It's just the TV is some shit. Now I watch me some YouTube. I didn't even try to watch football. They done jacked up the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, and the Badminton League of America. They didn't fuck that up so bad. I only watch it in 15-minute increments. Just enough for me to get the highlights, and then boom, I'm done. I'm out. But I'm going back to, y'all, please, I done said it in all my videos. If you black Americans, do not step outside for this bullshit. This is a white-on-white crime scene, and these motherfuckers going to have to fix it for themselves. And this is the thing that tickled me is like July 4th, Independence Day. Independence from what? The original settlers came over and did 3 things: disease, destruction, and death. If you're a black American, you trust me on this one. If you're a black American and you can't find out that you got great-grandparents or parents that are one part citizen of any of the 54 countries in the continent of Africa, then your ass is descendant of a native Indian, the original native Indians. Everybody's got these little, everybody's got these little AI clips, and the guys want to, run a little bit of history in a 30-second clip in some AI artwork. It wasn't no Africa back then, but from that mass, wherever they came from, they crossed the Bering Strait. And I'm sure at that particular time, the original native Indians, folks that look like you and me, look at my skin tone, walked across the Bering Strait in what we now call the Mississippi River. They crossed over to the east side of the Mississippi River, all the way across to the East Coast. The Eurasians saw our people cross over, and they started following behind us. So all the other native Indians that they keep on, that's the only ones they show. Have you noticed? You don't hardly ever see no pictures of the original black native Indians, because even back then, they were like, okay, if we keep the pictures, that's prosperity. That's an actual visual proof that what the U.S. Census Bureau says a black man was the original native Indians. They never wanted that proof. So they all show the Eurasians. And believe it or not, when the Eurasians crossed over, they had to be taught the powwow and everything else. And when the deal went down, it was like, okay, the Mexicans just tolerated them, because California all the way to the top of Arizona and going across to the Mississippi River, that was all the so-called Mexico back in the day. So the Eurasians are all the Lakota, the Apache, the Navajo, doggone it. There's so many tribes out there. And the ones that stayed, like Alaska, the Inuits, you ain't heard nothing from them. That tsunami, whatever, they still suffering out there where people lost their homes and everything else. And they're out in the cold. And their cold is a whole lot different than the cold that just came up on the East Coast and probably about a third of the United States past the east side of the Mississippi River. I'm going to make a third video. I cannot believe how quickly 10 minutes goes. But there's so much I want to share with you. But I just wanted to make it more adult. And I didn't mean to be using so much profanity. I'm getting ready to make a third video. Thank you.
I'm going to say this, and I hope people receive it with the spirit in which I'm giving it, as specifically with the eyes and the life and the mind of a black trans woman, and someone who transitioned at 38, and someone who professionally, studying people are part of my work, like diving into epistemology as a black person. I don't know what it would ever take for black women to stop giving a fuck. It is ingrained in the experience of black girls to give a fuck about things that were not their problem. And the few black girls that have the switch in them to not give a fuck about things are shamed, and they are pushed aside, and they are labeled as unruly and difficult. When I was like 13 or 14, I was in this like day reporting program, and there was this girls group home called Utah Holly back in my hometown of Omaha. And I remember on the weekends, Cooper Village, where I was, so the boys group home and the girls home on the weekends, they would consolidate us together because it was, shorter staff or whatever. And I was just in the day reporting program. So after school I would go, but on the weekends I would be there during the day. And I remember leading up to like our first time having a weekend with the girls, how all the boys was like, oh my God, like it's gonna be hell. And like all the staff, I would sit there and watch boys shit in their hand and wipe it on the wall. And then the staff members would the therapists would try to figure out how to explain like how it was based in their trauma and all these things, which is true, but the way they framed it, the way I would hear them talk about these girls, I remember going up in there, I'm just like, I'm gonna have to fight one of these bitches. They're talking about these girls like they was motherfucking Mad Max in the Thunderdome. And I get there and these girls are like, oh yeah, you wanna crochet with me? Now, they didn't take no shit. They were deeply misunderstood in a lot of ways. Some of them were parents. But the context of the black girl who doesn't give a fuck and isn't going to listen to somebody who's going to stand up for herself is not accepted. It's not supported. And they are made to be pariahs and examples to scare other young girls into falling in line. And then when these other girls get of age, you exist in a culture where the more a black woman sacrifices herself, the more she is seen as valuable and important, and the more she is celebrated. The more a black woman does not care about herself and unselfishly gives herself to others, gives herself to supporting a man, to educating a man, to loving a man, to standing by that man through whatever he puts you through. Then he give you the kids, and then he leave you with the kids. But you better make sure that he has access to the kids. You better make sure that while he's over there talking to this new woman and saying you ain't shit, you better pack up all these bags so your kids can eat for the weekend at their daddy's motherfucking house. I.e., when that baby passed away in that car because they froze to death, and how the daddy was over there at that bitch's house in there warm, and motherfuckers thought that shit was sweet. I was not raised to give a fuck about anybody but myself. And I was the oldest. I was not raised to have to be nice. I was not raised to have to smile when someone gave me a compliment. I didn't get in trouble. No one told me like, if you better thank you for the compliment. I was not raised to be selfless. I was raised to win. I was raised to conquer. I was raised to get what I wanted by any means necessary. And then I transitioned. And I know the world sees me for the woman I am, because all of a sudden, when a man says I'm pretty and I don't reply, I'm a bunch of bitches because I better reply. All of a sudden, the amount of myself that I sacrifice for the people around me equates to my value. When people talk about me, they talk about everything I've done for them. They don't talk about who I am as a person. It didn't used to be that way. All of a sudden, when someone disrespects me and I reply, I'm aggressive. If I let them disrespect me and I shut up, then it's fine. Because I don't have a uterus, because I cannot have a child myself, the rubric for them deciding that I'm soft enough is submitting to a man doing anything he wants to me sexually. Me asking or talking about my pleasure is me being manly and not woman enough. And these are simply echoes of the systems that people who are assigned sex at their sex assigned at birth is female have experienced their whole lives. most black women cannot come out of the matrix of showing up and giving, because most human beings don't want to be seen as incongruent to whatever definition exists of being a good person. And this country, from the time they stole black bodies and brought them here, specifically black women, the rubric is being the mother to everyone, including the mother to your slave master's children. So I don't know what that looks like. And it's not that it's not that the black women don't know what the system is doing. When I look at these two women who are educated, who understand systems of oppression, who are organizers, it's an innate thing. I don't know what it all. It's something that it makes the most sense for me when estrogen is pumping through my body, and I have to slap myself out of it sometimes. Like, bitch, what is wrong with you? Because my lived experience tells me that no matter how much I give to systems, a man, or whatever, they're never going to give me the same back. But my understanding of culture, my existence as a black trans woman, lets me know that meeting the mark means that I get it. If I got in the bed that night and I feel like I gave more away than I got, then I did my job as a black woman. And so, whether it's protesting, whether it's going to check on somebody who did you wrong, whether it's going to take care of the mama who made your life hell, whether it's your grown-ass son who you done gave 30, 40, that mama who's up son 35 and he threatening you and blocking your driveway and kicking in your door because at 35 you said, nigga, get on your feet. Don't matter. And the world will shame you. So I think the far likelihood is to imbue a spirit of not giving a fuck about being shamed in black women. But then black women are going to have to not be at the intersection of shaming those women. Because then when niggas divest, it's black women in the comments saying, oh, that you make all black women look bad. Like, you go through the comments. Because you look at a Carisha, for instance, you think she don't give a fuck. She don't give a fuck about some traditional standards. But what she cleaves herself to is the pick-me mentality of, if I have a rich man, I'm going to be all right. And whatever I have to do to keep that rich man, I will. You're sacrificing yourself for what you think is the greater good when you are the sacrificial lamb, period. So I don't know. One of my daily struggles is knowing what I need to do to meet the mark for the identities that I exist in. But knowing there was 38 years of my life that I never had to do anything like that. And still, it is the most affirming thing I've ever experienced. And so as a community member, but also someone who is new to as a foreigner, as a documented citizen, right, of this culture, it's like, oh, I know the before, I know the after, I know this shit ain't right, and I also am oddly affirmed by the oppressive expectations of black womanhood. And I wasn't trained up for this since birth. So if that's your epistemology, if that's what's ingrained in you, that's what you value, and it's in the church, it's in your colleges, what are they supposed to do?
Hey y'all, I'm not dressed up or done up or anything. It's literally 12:32 at night. So I came on here to give a message to the non-black people because I've been seeing a lot of videos of other people like, black people not out there, black people not out there. We have a good reason. First of all, even if every black person came, we are very tiny percent of the population, okay? Black people literally did the footwork to the point that Bernie Sanders, I love you so much, Bernie Sanders, was out there with us. So, another fact is, things don't really change when black people are done wrongly or see unjust. The reality is simple. So, the reality of the entire situation, because I'm not going to keep y'all here too long, is things change when white people want to change it. And black people are a very small percentage of the population. You know, even when everything went down, I even saw, you know, the Hispanic community like, where are y'all? Where are y'all? Meanwhile, every other race has benefited from things like WIC, from things like welfare. That was created by the Black Panther Party. They were there for their community. So what the media says, yeah, do your homework. So we know that white people do have the power to change things more than us. So we're really not needed. And if I'm really gonna keep it tall with you, we know what I'm talking about. Dogs biting all the way down to the bone. Okay, I'm talking getting hosed. Okay, so that's two bad things. Then, you know, next thing you know, we was strange fruits and blood on the leaves. Strange fruits hanging. Okay, yeah. On top of that, we had popo brutality. So just really take in what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody, but we know this is not our fight. And the reality is 60% of black people didn't even vote. And me personally, I believe in voting. But at the same time, even then, if all black people voted, we would not have made a dent in the elections. We just wouldn't. So 60% of us don't even care about politics, and the 40%, you know, there's part of that 40, you know, is over there, mad delulu, suffering from cognitive dissonance, okay, over on the other side. But we still could not make a dent, like, at all. So I just want to say that this is important, and I haven't seen anyone talk about it. But yeah, stop asking black people to be out there, okay? We was already in the trenches, okay? We literally built this fucking country. Brick by brick, field by field. So we good. We are good. Black people, don't let them bait you. Do not let them bait you. Because that's really what it is. Because we're going to be the first ones getting long. Okay? That's what's going to happen to us. So, we good. The black people are protesting, not protesting. So we with y'all in spirit. And every black person that I know, we're actually very surprised for one, but happy. Like, yeah, like white people just have a higher chance of changing things. That's just the reality. And if anybody's like, no, like, don't be in my comments irking my soul, because I said what I said, okay? Yeah. You will be blocked, because I don't have time for any negativity. If this struck a nerve, if the shoe fits, wear it. But don't let it strike in the nerve and get mad at me. Y'all got everybody, every fucking American in this country, of all ethnicities and races, all of that, to put us in this hell that we are living in now. They've already done something to me. I'm just not ready to talk about it yet. So for me, it's just like a one day at a time kind of thing. And I be watching the news. I keep up. Now, personally, I cannot march. I have RRMS, multiple sclerosis for short. So I can't be walking long distances. I don't have the body capacity to be able to do that, you know. So believe it or not, I'm very thankful people are out there biting back, because you have to. Okay? So with love, good night.
And this is exactly why I said Black people should not, be on the front line of these protests. This is exactly why I said I'm going to sit out of these protests. Not because I don't, agree with the cause, but when Black people are on the front line, we're just shields. Like, nobody cares if we get hurt. Nobody cares if we die. So the House Democrats, posted on all their official pages, basically sending condolences to Alex Preddy and Renee Good, rightfully so, because they were wrongfully killed by ICE. But they forgot to mention that Keith Porter, a Black man, was also killed by ICE. But he does not fit, the narrative. He does not fit the story of, like, oh my gosh, outrage, right? A Black man gets killed by law enforcement and it's just a normal day in the neighborhood. It's just a normal Tuesday. Like, it's no big deal. Like, that happens all the time. So there's no outrage. But when white people start getting killed, now people are looking sideways and saying, I think this is going too far. Like, even official pages, representatives, state representatives on both sides are now saying, okay, this is too much, right? When white people get killed. I think what is happening is terrible, but it is time for white people to take a stand, to be the leaders, and stop looking to Black and brown people asking, well, what are y'all gonna do? Especially Black people. Black people, what are y'all gonna do? Y'all did, like, Black Lives Matter, we were out there for y'all. No, in Black Lives Matter, we still getting killed by the police. Nothing really changed, right? So it is time for y'all to step up and be on the front line, because when y'all are on the front line, y'all are the majority. That's when people on both sides start looking crazy. Like, I don't want to die. I don't want this to happen to me. I thought this was only supposed to happen to Black people. I thought this was only supposed to happen to brown people. Now we need to look into this. We need to make some changes, right? It's time to step up. I'm so sorry to hear, especially what happened to Alex Preddy, because he was on the front line. He was taking a stand, and his life was cut short wrongfully because he took a stand. So it is time, like, white people, y'all are going to bring change. So stop asking Black people what they're going to do. Stop looking to Black people to be your shield, to, shield you all from the bullets, and get on the front line and bring about change, because more of y'all are going to die. And y'all clearly don't like how it feels to be on this side of things.
Where are the Black people at, and why aren't they protesting? We are at home. That's exactly where we're at. Because where were y'all at in 2020 when we were protesting? Because I know where I was. I was out in the streets trying to tell you guys about this exact thing. I even have video evidence. So my question is, where were y'all? Because we were trying to tell you guys about this. At least I was trying to tell you guys about this. We were out there actively trying to prevent this very thing from happening. But I guess since it wasn't an immigrant or a YT problem then, y'all didn't really care about it, but y'all care about it now. Black people, we're at home because we tried to fight. We tried to care, but y'all didn't help us. Don't get me wrong. It really breaks my heart to see what's happening, like, truly. But y'all anger needs to be directed other places, because it's not Black people. Y'all need to be talking to them all lives matter people, because where are they? They've been real quiet. I guess immigrant lives isn't a part of all lives. So please stop asking Black people to help fight y'all battles, because y'all wasn't there to help fight ours. But let me know what you guys think. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Why aren't Black people showing up to the masses to these demonstrations? Why aren't we marching? Why aren't we chanting? Why aren't we screaming, this system is corrupt just like everybody else? I'm gonna tell you why. Because when it was us, nobody cared. When Black people were being harassed, when our constitutional rights were being violated, when Black people were getting killed by the police on camera, y'all didn't protest with us. Y'all didn't believe us. Y'all didn't call the system corrupt. You asked for a backstory. You wanted to know what we did to deserve it. you couldn't just accept the truth that this was an unjust system targeting us because of our skin color. But now that ICE is involved, now that it's affecting you, now all of a sudden the government is evil. Now the system is broken. Now everybody wants to march. Where was this energy when we told y'all this years ago? We've been telling y'all that the system was crooked. We've been telling y'all that law enforcement abuses power. We've been telling y'all that the government does not protect everyone equally. But you didn't want to hear it because believing us would have meant questioning the same system that you trusted, the same system that benefited you, the same system that you defended while it was destroying us. So don't ask why black people aren't rushing to the front lines now. Some of us are tired. Some of us know how this story ends. Same people you're calling corrupt today are the same people we warned you about. But y'all didn't believe us then, so don't be shocked when we're not shocked now.
See, it's stuff like this is the reason why my people ain't marching for y'all. Listen closely.
Over equality.
Wait your turn, and to those young raza or raza who want to believe that, you better turn your TV, brother. You better turn your radio, man.
What do you think about these Black Lives Matter that they want to be paid for being, slaves and all that?
Reparation.
Are you talking about reparations? Well, I heard they passed in North Carolina.
But it was
a small little town in North Carolina that passed reparations for whoever's over there. I'm sure they'll try to do something out here in California. I think they already actually got a little board going that they're going to start looking into it.
That's when we, the raza, need to step up, protest, and I'm talking major, and turn around and tell them, no, nobody get reparations until the Native Americans and the Mexicans get ours first. We've been going through this crap a lot longer, so I don't want to hear it. Because it's not fair, dog. How are you going to give a bunch of money to a specific group? This is the United States, a melting pot. How are you going to give it to a specific group?
Because right now they've got the white people with so much guilt. It was your parents.
Seen a couple videos on here, and as well as people inboxing me saying, Auntie, how you feel about the brown people saying that African Americans should step in to assist in the protest? Let me say this, by being an African American woman, I feel absolutely positively horrible about what's going on to these innocent children, people being deported to countries they've never lived in or haven't lived in years to come. So much has changed, being brought over to countries they've never lived in and expected just, throw into something. I feel absolutely positively bad about that, y'all. But then at the same token, if we're going to keep it real, we got to talk about it. Back when it was time for an election, a lot of people let race as well as sex cloud their judgment. They wanted nothing to do with an African American. I don't care what y'all say. She's not African American. She's Indian and her dad is Jamaican. Whatever. She's looked at, when she writing on paper as an African American woman. That could not happen at the White House. Y'all didn't want an African American woman to be in the White House, so y'all chose the alternative. So now that you chose the alternative, you have to deal with the consequences of your choice. How can you want some people to come and gather with you to protest against something that y'all knew was going to happen? Man, this man said over and over and over again what he was going to do. And y'all was, because you didn't think it was going to come to pass. And now that it has, now you want somebody else to come over there and help you? That ain't how that works, because ain't nobody help us. We've been fighting for years and years and years at a time. We still fighting a fight, an endless fight. I got black sons who will fight a fight for the rest of their life just for being born African American males. What the hell is y'all talking about? Because I know what I'm talking about. Thank y'all for sipping a little more tea with Auntie. Bye, y'all.
You know why you're not seeing a lot of black people out there protesting against ICE? You know why you're seeing predominantly white people only at these events? It's because back in 2020, the Democrats utilized the black demographic to go out and riot and act a fool. And they said, oh, if you just elect us, we'll give you reparations and we'll force the police to wear body cameras and all these wonderful, amazing things, right? So black people showed up like we are known to do, and we voted up and down for one side of the aisle. And what did we get for it? Nothing, as usual, because many of us never learn. But now, here in 2026, we're seeing individuals who were slavishly devoted to the Democrat Party. Now they're seeing the Democrats over their entire 4 years in office under Joe Biden. They went out of their way to ingratiate themselves to illegal immigrants, and they sometimes prioritized illegal immigrants, even in black communities, ahead of black American citizens. And black people are sitting there saying, wait, you said you were going to give us reparations, you're going to give us X, Y, and Z, and we got nothing for it. So the silver lining is a lot of people are waking up and realizing the Democrats are only courting their next prospective voting bloc. They want to exploit illegal immigrants for an entire generation, much like they've exploited the black community for the previous several generations. And they're daring you to call them out on that and see it for what it is. So if you're wondering why you only see predominantly white liberals out here acting a fool, rioting and protesting against ICE, it's because ICE is threatening their ability to cater to that next demographic that they desperately want to lock in for an entire generation. And that's just the God's honest truth. Those are my thoughts. Hopefully you agree. And if you do, let me know in the comment section down below.
I think I might have a problem because certain things just hit me different. I got on here months ago and I said, black people stay out of these ICE protests. As protests have ramped up, as bodies have begun to pile up, the entitlement and privilege of other groups of people, as it pertains to black people putting their bodies on the line, has begun to show itself. And I keep thinking, wow, imagine for a second, the entitlement, the privilege, and quite frankly, the disconnect and the dissonance of people. Because I think blackness has a weight to it. And for a while, I always wondered what that weight was. And that weight is memory and it is history. The history that this current administration is trying to take away from people. And here's why. Imagine telling the group of people who have been in this country before this country had a name, were the dead last ones to get rights in this country, have been disenfranchised, brutalized, victimized by this country before they even had rights, are the reason some people in this country and other people across the world have rights. Same group of people who fought, died, were tortured, beaten, lynched, hung, all these different things. Imagine telling the people and expecting the people who fought, died, went to prison, had to flee the country, all these things. Imagine telling those people, hey, why aren't you fighting? Where are you in this issue? When the National Guard is going into predominantly black neighborhoods right now. When police show up alongside ICE, knowing the history that black people have with the police in this country, that again had slavery, genocide, institutionalized racism. Imagine the expectation, the entitlement, and quite frankly, the psychosis behind the frustration when we say no. Imagine going to the polls and voting for this, knowing that most black people did not vote for this, and you want us to clean up the mess that you made. And I'm not even trying to get political, but that's just the concurrence of facts of the events. Imagine how crazy this looks for us. And I need people to understand, it's not that we are for these things happening to anyone. Y'all are. We are 14% of this country's population. I need you to really understand that. We are 14% of the population. Most of you, in some way, shape, or form, wanted this. You voted for this. You did all the things that you could for this to happen to people. And now there seems to be no compunction with the powers that be for them to do these things to you. It just so happens that you probably always expected this to happen to us. And now it's not. So no, we're not doing it. We'll be coming out on the other end of it, though, victorious. Have a good day.
Anyways, welcome back, guys. I love that particular thought clip that I played where this lady literally said that black people don't matter. That is how their society has literally made things look. So why do you think it is okay for black people to always be at the war fronts? Why do you think it is okay for black people to always show up? Why do you think it is okay for black people to always start shouting, we no go agree, we no go agree? doing the protests and the rest of that. Meanwhile, me and you know that a lot of them are going to still target these same black people. A lot of them are going to still target these same foundational black Americans. Because at the end of the day, see what is happening in the society where everybody is playing nonchalant. Where the government system, the White House system is playing nonchalant, where ICE agents can just pew anybody they want to pew, and we have something that can actually cover them, We have a law that can make it look like they are just doing their job, or those people actually triggered them, or it just happened as a result of self-defense. Self-defense. Why do you want black people to come out where we have a lot of ICE agents doing an undercover job, not showing up as if they are ICE, kidnapping people to another location, deporting them to where they are not supposed to, all in the name of obeying rules and regulations? There's just a lot of things out there that, yes, when black people said they are not coming out, they're not showing up, they want to rest, they want to sleep, I said, yes, go ahead, rest, sleep, because at the end of the day, you as a black person do not matter. Black people don't matter. Black Americans especially. And I can tell you that once black Americans start going out regularly, showing their faces, that is when these people will not literally know that, oh, the riot was meant to be peaceful, but it was not peaceful. Black people started it. They started screaming, they started shouting, they started doing this, they started doing that, just to make sure they are protecting their own silly images. So you want to tell me with this time season that black Americans are now choosing to say, we are backing off, you're offended? If you're offended, it simply means you're a wicked person. Because there was no news, there was no alarm the last time I checked that rang bell that said every single black American sit out. There was nothing like that. It was black Americans making their decision. It was black Americans realizing that they have fought enough for this country. They have stood enough for this country. They have clapped enough for this country. So it's not going to be a bad idea if they have decided that they are not showing up. If they had decided that their faces will not be out there. If they have literally decided that they are going to be backing off on all battles. And tell me another reasons why black Americans will actually not back off. Where we have most of these immigrants that black Americans are meant to fight for are not even fighting for black Americans. So is black American going to be standing for Latinos that can literally just disguise themselves as ICE agents and pew anyone they want to pew? Or are black Americans going to be fighting for Hispanics that do the same thing? Or are they going to stand for Asian people that has never valued them? Or are they going to stand for Somalis that has literally never identified themselves as blacks, that say they're Arabs? Or are they going to stand for Africans that have literally tagged them lazy, jobless, single mothers? Name the names they have not called them. So why do you think it is an important reason for them to still show forth for those kind of people? I will pull out for you. I will show forth for you. I will do what I want to do on your behalf for your sake. But when it's my turn, you're not ready to do that. You're not ready to answer me. You're not ready to say anything. And you think I'll be happy comfortably doing it for you. Hell no, I cannot. I'm sorry. So black Americans have chosen their peace of mind. In fact, the ones that they've been protesting, it has not been working. The main reason why we are protesting is because we want a change. But they have been protesting through the regime of this orange man. What has worked? What has changed? Nothing has changed. Everything is still going sour every single day. Immigration ban, tariffs, taxes, east, west, and south. So black Americans, if you're watching, sit down, sit tight, be happy, eat food, take care of your family. After all, you cannot be deported. Let everybody, let every community deal with their own issue. Let every community deal with themselves. Let every community do things for themselves too. They should protect for themselves. It is not only you that is supposed to be at the forefront at every single point in time. Anyways, I hope this video is able to help someone. Credit belongs to the original creator of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please do what, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. And thank you so much for staying stick and hook with me to the end of this video. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I'd like I always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys.